All right. I know. It's The Wedding Singer. What could I possibly have to say about this movie that isn't silly or some kind of 80s reference? Well, I found something. And to be totally candid here, these are the types of movies that I prefer to go deeper on anyway, for the sole reason that most people don't think to go deep on them in the first place. So it's like uncharted territory. It's hidden but in plain sight. So there is a certain something in The Wedding Singer that got me going. A scene in particular. A very small moment, but it's important and kind of cuts deep. At least for me it does anyway. I'll tell you what scene that is and the moment in particular, but first, let me start with how the moment came back to my mind in the first place, because it all kind of comes full circle. So I was reminded of this moment not that long ago when I was at work and my thoughts began to wander, as they usually do. I was feeling really lonely and melancholic at the time, and then I started to think of sad and lonely characters from movies that I had seen. Now, movies are stories, and I love stories because not only do they show us reflections of ourselves, but they show us all the different possibilities of ourselves. So in movies, characters that are sad and lonely remind us of us, but they also show us how they can change. So even though they may start out low, they don't stay that way. They have an arc. They start at the bottom, and by the end, they have reached some kind of understanding. They're at a different point from where they started. Depending on the story, maybe they haven't solved everything yet, but they're on the road to maybe finding happiness someday. These types of characters can come in all varieties, but there is a sort that I'm drawn to. The ones that are loners or weirdos, the kind of characters with a hardened exterior, or some kind of false front that covers up who they really are and what they're really feeling. And the reason I am drawn to and really like these sorts of characters, it's because, well, I feel a lot like them. I can be a loner. I can definitely be a weirdo. But what I consistently do is maintain a hard exterior and sometimes put up a false front. And that's a hard thing for me to admit, but it's true. I hide a lot of myself from the world, my true feelings. I put up a stoic appearance and hope that people buy it. But then as a result, people I come in contact with often think I'm very unfeeling and cold-hearted. But the thing is, I would rather people think that than expose what I'm really feeling, because I don't think anyone likes feeling vulnerable. It's just too dangerous. But the reason I bring this up, it's not just me thinking about my own situation. It's because of how universal this kind of covering up behavior is with all of us. No matter what your personality type, extroverted, introverted, outgoing, ingoing, normal, or weirdo, there's always going to be things we may choose to hide from the world. There are masks that we wear, behaviors that we learn in order to protect our true feelings, our true selves, because social constructs and contracts make us think that we're supposed to be and act in a certain way. Okay, so to bring this all back to The Wedding Singer, this is the scene that got this whole thing going. Do you remember this?
What are you saying? What I'm saying is all I really want is someone to hold me and tell me that everything is gonna be all right.
It's this character, who is a bit of an outsider, kind of a loner, and a bit of a weirdo.
What do you think of the jacket?
I don't know, man. I would lose that glove. You look nuts.
It was him that initially drew me in and reminded me of something in myself. And then starting off with that line, all I really want. It's like he's saying, all I've said before, all you've seen of me before, it's all bullshit. I'm not really what I seem. And even though this character, whose name is Sammy, by the way, is played for laughs as kind of a clueless doofus.
Anyway, she told me she likes you.
Really? She said that?
No.
There is something sad and tragic here, I think, with this abrupt but sobering confession, because he's basically telling us he's been acting counter to how he truly feels. Essentially, he's been living a lie. So this got me thinking more. Maybe this is kind of a reoccurring theme in the movie, this notion of pretending, fear, and self-doubt. Now, when I usually watch The Wedding Singer, of course, I'm just watching it for a good time, to laugh, to enjoy all the 80s callbacks and the music. So I've never paid much attention into what's possibly going on inside some of these characters' minds. let alone what's going on in the subtext. But right off the bat, when the movie starts, we get this scene with the Steve Buscemi character. He kicks off this trend of revealing the unseen or unspoken truth by basically calling out the facade of the whole wedding.
Because Harold, he's always been the dependable one, and I've always been the screwed up one. Right, Dad? But, little newsflash, Pop. Harold ain't so perfect.
It's like he's saying, you all think you're happy, but you don't know the truth. You don't know what's really going on with these people. Or maybe you do and you're just going along with it to maintain the status quo. But what I think he's also trying to say is simply, hey, look at me. I have value, and I need you people to see that.
I'm a person too, Pop, goddammit. I'm a person too.
You're a moron!
And you can tell he doesn't like himself all that much. And that's simply because he can't be the thing that he thinks people want him to be. That image of a put-together person. But he's also scared that he won't even get that facade of happiness that his brother has seemingly achieved. And mixed with alcohol, that comes out as anger and frustration. So not only does he feel rejected on a deep level, but on a superficial one too. Now, of course, I'm not excusing this behavior. It is bad. I'm just trying to look at the situation from a different angle. But, like Sammy's moment in the bar, it's lowered to joke status. Like we're supposed to take it lightly and get a good laugh out of this guy's awkwardness and bad timing. And in that context, it's funny. I mean, you can make just about anything funny. But imagine that this really happened at a wedding you were at. I know in the movie the Robbie character saves it here, but in real life, nothing and no one could recover from this moment. The night would be over and that's all anybody would talk about. Now look at the Julia character. She has what she thinks will make her happy, right? A handsome guy with a great paying job. And not only is it a job that pays well, but it's also one that has prestige, the image of success. And her mother reinforces that.
You're gonna marry Glenn on Sunday. You're gonna love him, and everything's gonna be wonderful.
So Julia thinks, hey, I've got all these things, so I should be happy now, right? But Glenn isn't what she wants, and deep down she knows that. But for the majority of the movie, she goes along with it and denies what really makes her happy, the connection she develops with Robbie. Now, Robbie seemingly has none of the things that Glenn has. The chiseled looks, the job, the money, the prestige. But when it comes to Julia, he fulfills a need for her that Glenn could never fill. And that's seeing the real Julia within, who she really is. Like in the beginning, when Robbie lifts her spirits by accentuating and complimenting her in her job as a waitress. In the way that she describes what she does, she devalues herself by saying that what she does isn't all that important.
Right now, I feel like I'm doomed to wander the planet alone forever.
Oh no, kind of like the Incredible Hulk, huh?
Yeah. Only I'm not helping people.
And that's an insight into how she really feels about herself. She feels unimportant. She doesn't feel seen. And I think Robbie can see that. So he responds with,
While you were inside, you were helping people. You were giving them fish and coffee and forks. People can't eat without forks.
Now, it may sound like platitudes, and it kind of is, but that's not the point. Because in a roundabout way, what he's saying is, I see you, and I think you have value as you are, and if other people can't see that, then they're missing out. It's that early connection, that moment of breaking down the walls of the shared illusion that allows Robbie and Julia to connect on a deeper level and gradually fall in love with each other. For Robbie, it's kind of the same situation. When the movie starts, he's engaged to Linda, and with her, he thinks he has what will make him happy. For him, it's in starting a family and putting down roots, no matter who the woman is, as long as they reasonably get along. But, of course, as we sense fairly early on, Linda is not the person that's going to fill this role, because Linda has her own idea of what happiness is. For her, it's being married to a rock star and living a lifestyle that's edgy, saucy, and unpredictable.
I'm not in love with Robbie now. I'm in love with Robbie 6 years ago. Robbie, the lead singer of Final Warning. And I used to come and watch you from the front row in your spandex pants.
Still got the spandex. I'll put them on right now.
But as Robbie moved away from his rock star beginnings and moved more into his role as a songwriter, he became less interesting to her and less capable of giving her the life she thinks she wants. Until eventually, of course, she stands him up at the altar. In the end, she returns and tries to get back together with Robbie, but by that point, Robbie has moved on because he's seen her for what she truly is.
I could learn to deal with the fact that you're just a wedding singer, not a rock star. I could even learn to deal with...
You can learn to deal with that? I don't want you to learn to deal with that. That's not how it works.
What he's really saying is, you may have been my fiancé, but you don't know me. You don't see me. And it's not me that you want. And you never want to be somebody that someone else settles for. That would be the ultimate tragedy.
Please get out of my Van Halen t-shirt before you jinx the band and they break up.
So throughout the movie, there's this idea of the characters pursuing what they think they want because that's what society, culture, and their friends and family tell them they need. And it's all grown out of this shared fear of not living up to the status quo. Like with Sammy. To be happy, he thinks he needs to be like Fonzie, right? And get a lot of women. And that will make him a successful man, and therefore happy. Right?
You want to be like Fonzie, don't you?
Yes, I do.
You're on your way.
But it's also those things that you think you need, like money, like good looks, like women. Those things are also supposed to bring with them a sense of stability and comfort. A sense that they'll always be there for you no matter what happens. Or as the Holly character boils it down to, it's all a matter of security. Glenn is secure. Therefore, despite the fact that he's clearly the wrong choice, he's the right choice. He will give you that fantasy of the good life. And Robbie can see that. So Robbie starts to think that's what he has to be too. So to offer security, you have to have money. Or at least the illusion of it.
Do you have any experience?
No, sir, I have no experience, but I'm a big fan of money. I like it. I use it. I have a little. I keep it in a jar on top of my refrigerator. I'd like to put more in that jar. That's where you come in.
But it's not him. We can see that right away. He doesn't belong in that bank or even in those clothes. It's incongruous to who he is as a person. And when he confronts Julia about this, of course it doesn't go well, because it breaks the understanding that they've developed with each other.
Yeah, but you don't want to be just another yuppie idiot.
Why? What's wrong with that? Don't want to live in my sister's basement anymore. I want to get a big house, have some security.
That their relationship is one without facades or barriers. So when he accuses her of wanting to be with Glenn only for security, well, it is both not true and true. At some level, I think she does understand why she's with Glenn. Because he does provide that dream package of the happy life, and that includes the security that comes with it. But she responds in anger in this moment because, hearing this from Robbie, it's like a betrayal of the understanding that they developed with each other, that they're beyond all that material shit.
I don't know. We're living in a material world and I am a material girl. Or boy.
Now, this movie is a romantic comedy, and Robbie and Julia do end up together. I mean, this is The Wedding Singer and not The Ice Storm. We want a happy ending, and that's exactly what we get. All the characters, at least the ones we care about, all end up better than they were before. Even the Buscemi character is looking on the up and up.
I know this much is true.
But even though the ending is kind of an illusion in and of itself, that fantasy of everything being wrapped up in a nice little bow, all those themes that I was talking about are still valid. That what we want isn't always what we're told we're supposed to want. So none of that facade, no fancy cars and CD players. Maybe it's really all just about understanding and being able to share that understanding with someone you love so you don't have to be afraid anymore. And so maybe it can all be broken down into that one moment of sobering confession. All I really want is for someone to hold me and to tell me that everything is gonna be all right. I'm Adam Lee. Thanks for watching. Please like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you really liked it, or don't do either of those things. But until next time, stay real.